Yo, get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back.
All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack 2022 Fantasy Football Team Previews. Right now, we are going to be covering the New England Patriots to finish out our AFC East. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me tonight doing this are Dylan Clemons. And let's just jump right into it, shall we? And start with our quarterback and Mr. Mac Jones and Billy Zappi. I just wanted to say that name. So overall, 152, QB 22. I mean, look, Mac Jones wasn't anything spectacular last year, but was efficient with the ball.
Yep.
Ran a game managed, if you want to say that. I people hate that term, but I mean that's legit what he did. He played within his means. There were some good weeks, some meh weeks. It wasn't like he turned the ball over a ton kind of week, but he just kind of didn't do anything.
We did see him throw like 3 passes one game.
Right, that too. I was just going to say that. We also saw like a record low game that don't think I'll ever see again. But is there any chance that you think he could kind of just fall into a QB1 season?
I don't think so, Joe. I think there's not enough volume there. He gives you 0 with his legs. They don't even have an offensive coach on their coaching staff, it seems like, in New England, which scares me even more, having a second-year quarterback. And who's the guy in his ear? Joe Judge? And he was a special teams guy. And they won't say who's going to be calling plays. They haven't announced any of that. It's such a weird situation in New England right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just this lack of volume, honestly, kind of lack of passing weapons in general. I mean, the tight ends are nice, I guess, but I mean, we'll get to the rest of it here. But it's not sexy around him. Let's be sure. They're relying on ball control. They're relying on defense to win some ball games over there, and it works for them. So so be it. Running backs. So Damien Harris still around, running back 27, overall 57 right now. Rhamondre Stevenson. James White is back from his injury. They drafted Pierre Strong. They got Kevin Harris and J.J. Taylor to round it out there. I mean, look, there's a lot of people that really like Stevenson. And then there's still your Damien Harris truthers. I mean, which way do you lean with these two guys?
I was a Damien Harris guy, but I think I lean Rhamondre just because he showed a little bit more in the passing down work. So I think I lean there, and his value, quite frankly, is just a little better. But I don't love any of these guys. This is just your typical New England backfield for fantasy where you're kind of just like, ew.
Yeah, right.
I don't really want to do it.
These are your like, oh man, I've really got to play a New England running back. No, you don't, because you didn't have to draft one of them, but you did. So good luck figuring out which one's going to be good every week. I mean, honestly, do we want James White at this point? Because I mean, this dude was a monster while he was healthy last year.
Yep.
And he is going super, super late. I have a feeling I'm going to have quite a bit of James White on my squads this year. If he
not a terrible, that late. Yeah, it's not a terrible dart throw that late, man.
I mean, what did he catch? He caught, I mean, it wasn't good because he got hurt pretty early, but I mean, he was having a pretty nice season already. I mean, they say he played 3 games, but it was really 2 games, and he'd already caught 12 passes in 2 games.
Oh, like that,
and ran in for what? I mean, he only got 9 carries total, but I'll take a running back getting me receiver points, especially in a PPR league.
Yep.
So James White going that late, best ball leagues, that kind of stuff. I'm all for it. I'm kind of out on everybody else here. I don't like any of those other guys here. So,
and Belichick trusts James White too, where we saw a few times last season Damien Harris put the ball on the ground. I think it cost New England a game actually when he fumbled late. And we've seen Stevenson have fumbling issues at times too. So it's, Belichick trusts James White. That's for sure.
Yeah, and obviously Mac Jones did too because he was just dumping it off to him. So
Yep.
I think that's going to continue if James White can stay on the field here. So moving over here to the receivers, we got by the rankings, we got Jakobi Meyers number 1, and then DeVante Parker number 2, Kendrick Bourne sitting at number 3, Nelson Aguilar. I mean, a lot of guys that we recognize the names, right? But nobody that's really like jumping off the page at you, in my opinion. I was actually kind of shocked to see Parker over Myers. Not gonna lie, or Myers over Parker. I thought that, I think the depth chart is the other way around. I think some of that has to do with injury history and things like that. I think they're both just. I mean, they're close enough to where it's kind of like whatever. Take your pick. But that being said, is. Who do you like out of those two, Myers or Parker, and why?
I think DeVante Parker, just because he's a red zone threat. He's got the touchdown upside, possession receiver, go up and catch the ball. Jakobi Meyers, his ceiling is just capped to me because he doesn't catch touchdowns. He's more the short, intermediate kind of guy, kind of like a Cole Beasley type. I can't really get there with Myers, so I'd rather have DeVante Parker. And then we saw Kendrick Bourne flash last year. I think he caught a touchdown in 3 or 4 straight games, but I feel like him and DeVante Parker have similar skill sets. So I almost feel like Parker is kind of going to be replacing Kendrick Bourne a little bit. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I'm looking at it, and I think – I mean, Parker is probably like the more talented receiver. I think injury, like I said before, kind of plays a part. He hasn't been available. His touchdowns have obviously dipped over the last couple of seasons, but I mean, the quarterback play around him hasn't been great. It's not moving anything all that great now, but Myers you can't forget he saw 126 targets last season.
You
can't sneeze at that, man. So I do think there's a place for both of them. If you're looking for touchdown upside, it's probably Parker, like you said. Myers is probably going to be your safer play. I really don't want any of these guys. I'll be honest with you. I just don't.
The offense scares me.
Yeah, it's just a Bill Belichick offense, right? I mean, except for when they had, like Wes Welker and guys like that and Tom Brady as quarterback, who you really trust in there? You could almost never trust a running back, and it was hard to trust anybody but, Gronk and maybe their one little slot receiver that they had. But they don't have that offense anymore. So,
no, they don't.
It is what it is. But let's finish up here with our tight ends, and we got, Hunter Henry, who had himself a pretty nice season and is kind of, ranked a little lower than I probably would have thought going into it. But, looking at it, that's kind of about where I've got him too. But, the way he finished last season, I think most people probably would have thought that he would be higher. But take a little deeper look into the numbers. And, again, we talked about a whole bunch of other tight ends in this division so far that have been, heavy touchdown percentage guys, and it's hard to repeat that year in and year out. So Hunter Henry was that guy. He just caught a slew of touchdowns. And then Jonnu Smith comes over. They kind of came over that 1-2 punch last year, and a lot of people thought Jonnu Smith was going to kind of overtake Henry, and it didn't happen. So do you see these guys kind of hit in the middle this year, or is Hunter Henry still going to outperform Smith by a large margin, and why?
I think it's still Henry's. They like to use Jonnu Smith kind of as the blocking tight end, very good blocking tight end. But Henry, like you said, a lot of these deeper tight ends are touchdown dependent. Henry went 4 straight games with the touchdowns, weeks 4 through 7. And they took a week off, then caught a touchdown, and then 2 the following week. So, Mac Jones and him have that chemistry. So I'm especially at tight end 17. Looking at that really surprises me, to be honest. I would have expected him to be higher, like you said, as well.
Yeah, I think at that point you just kind of want somebody who, if he doesn't catch touchdowns, maybe is going to get more than 3 targets a game. which is what he was getting until the very end when he saw 8, 6, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
But he only caught 2 touchdowns out of those last 4 games, and they were all in one game.
Such a weird season, man.
It is such a weird year. And then, Jonnu, I mean, you can just forget about him. He just was not used in this offense.
Yep.
It just, like you said, blocking tight end.
Yeah.
People spent pretty high draft capital on him last season, and it did not work. He only caught 28 passes, only saw 45 targets, and only caught 1 touchdown. So a far cry from his previous season when he caught 8 touchdowns and 65 targets with the Tennessee Titans. Yep. So, I mean, unless they kind of change this offense around, which it doesn't really look like they're trying to do when they bring in a guy like DeVante Parker, it seems like Jonnu Smith is still going to be sitting there as the blocker for Harris and Stevenson. So
agree. Yep.
That's it, guys, for the New England Patriots. Want to thank you for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, leave those comments. We appreciate it. And tune in to any of our other division previews. And good luck this season. See ya.
Thanks, Joe.